moments of the season. Him puking in the cabin, his like fight with Ashley when she sees her give Gary a massage, his hookup with Ashley,
Yeah.
all the age stuff about whether Ashley's too old for him, even though they're the same age.
Yep.
And then the anchor dragging. I mean, I kind of realized tonight, like I kind of missed Tom.
I miss Tom, but that's also because the replacement was Barnaby. And listen, Barnaby actually seems like a fun guy, but just no screen time.
Yeah. I'd rather hang out with Barnaby one-on-one, I think.
Yeah.
But Tom's just good TV. He's just like, he's always involved in something.
Yeah. So he is a little bit of like kind of a mini Gary, if we would. Speaking of Barnaby, do we want to talk about him for 5 seconds? I candidly don't really remember anything he said except at the end that he's not in yachting anymore and he's got some business is thriving.
What was the business?
Dude, no, I
don't remember either. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's no longer in yachting though. He's working on it. He's working on his own. So good on him, I guess. But I think we just gave him more time on the pod than the reunion gave him. So
yes,
good on us. We're looking out for the little guy. Sean, let's get into speaking of people with limited screen time. Let's get into Kelsey. So, candidly, she was there. I actually think she was kind of like the voice of reason in a lot of spots where, when people were kind of hating on Gary a little bit, she was like, listen, the guy was a good boss. I know how to kind of work with all types of guys. And I think she was really level-headed. Nothing earth-shattering coming out of her, but that's pretty much what we know of Kelsey.
Yeah, it's
fine reunion.
I think she's a good person to have around. I like Kelsey. Yeah, no, pro Kelsey. I'm trying to remember if there's like anything like really profound she said. Yeah, I mean, like she defended Gary pretty well, but then she also, I think her and Daisy both felt like Gary led Ashley on, or thought maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Basically saying like, hey, like sometimes you have to kind of be more careful with who you flirt with.
Right. Which the way it was edited and maybe the way it was, Ashley was obviously coming on to Gary really strong. Right.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, at this point, Gary's not a kid anymore. I think he knows when he does dumb things, but he still does them. So maybe you got to kind of pump the brakes a little bit as we go forward here.
Right. Yeah. Gary also 5'8". We got that.
Yeah. The guy that's 5'7.5" says he's 5'8", right?
That's not short according to him. I feel like in South Africa, I imagine the average height's probably taller than the US.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm basing it on like, I'm not really sure what I'm basing that on. I know like Norway and Sweden, like the average height's like 6 foot.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm looking it up now, Sean.
All right.
It's short. It's 5'6.5".
Oh, in South Africa, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he is not short in some country. All right.
Yeah.
So really, that's on all of us for calling him short, which I feel like I don't really. He's normal height.
Here's the thing: I never notice it. Like he's not noticeably short, right?
I think it was more when you see next to John Luke last season.
It's not a good look standing next to John Luke. It's
because he's a full foot taller than him.
Yeah, it's not great. But well, why don't we just get into Gary then, man?
Yeah.
I feel like the guy was in defense mode a little bit throughout the episode, and at the same time, I think he was also very opinionated when it came to how Daisy ran her interior.
Yes.
So, obviously, so he went on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen a couple weeks ago. And he basically said, and he had time to think about it. And he basically said, I didn't feel like I was sexually assaulted, and he's like, in no way did I feel that I was, the victim. And I'm probably putting words in his mouth, but that's essentially what I got out of it. And he pretty much reiterated it here. And he basically said, listen, I don't think there was anything that necessary. He's like, I never felt bad. He's like, nothing wrong, I guess, happened. And he was just telling people, like, leave Ashley alone. Like, he's like, hey, you should, he's like, I appreciate people standing up for me, but I don't think it's necessary here.
Yeah, John. So he reiterated what he said in Watch Evans Live, I believe 2 weeks ago. He rambles a bit though. And Daisy kind of does a follow-up question. Andy Cohen doesn't, Daisy does. And he goes, okay, just to clarify, you're saying Ashley didn't sexually assault you? And he's like, yes.
Right.
Like, I get it's an uncomfortable topic. So like, he's probably just uncomfortable talking about it. But like, hey, as we said from the beginning, we're going to kind of wait for Gary's word on it and kind of take it from there. And then, I'm going to take his opinion is the most important one. So,
Right. And even Andy Cohen kind of brings up, hey, if these roles were reversed, that's not the same conversation.
Yeah. And then, that part was a little confusing. And Gary's like, oh yeah, which that confused me a little bit. Like, I don't know. And like, so Daisy kind of doing the follow-up question to clarify that. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
I kind of put a good pin in it. Uncomfortable topic. And I don't know. Let's take Gary's word for it.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. That's the most important person's word to take. So that's pretty much. And then again, Gary kind of he sticks his foot in his mouth a little bit when he brings up that Gabriella might not have left if Daisy didn't give out second stew and third stew rankings. And he kind of like doubles down on it. And Daisy's like, Gary, you don't know what you're talking about. And so I feel like, I mean, I don't think we mentioned this, but if Gary and Daisy really were in the same apartment, I feel like that one of them wants to strangle each other at the end of this.
Yeah. There's always a second and third stew.
Right.
When the season starts, I know Scarlett and Ashley there wasn't, but if you're Gabriella and you have all this experience and you're joining a boat and they're like, hey, you and this person who's brand new, you're equals, you're going to feel offended, one, and also like you're probably getting paid less too.
Yeah.
If you don't have the title.
Yeah. I don't know how it works. If second stew
makes
less than third stew.
I would imagine, I would hope so. Because
I don't know.
Like your job's harder.
I don't know. I feel like there's like chief stew and then there's just like help under it. If I were to guess.
We got to find someone to ask.
Yeah.
We'll get to the bottom of it, everyone.
Yeah. But I mean, that's kind of it for Gary, right? I mean, I feel like he was really front and center, but it was honestly just, and I know this is a reunion, but I feel like reunions should be different than like recaps. Like, I don't need them to recap the season in one episode. I want them to like.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, like don't step on our feet. But anything else specifically on Gary? I mean, guy seems like a shoo-in to be back next year.
Oh yeah, and they're really Gary, Daisy, will there, won't they? They're really pushing that. I'm happy that Daisy has an apartment.
Are we?
Yeah, right. She's in London now. I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm very happy for Daisy. I'm just makes me a little worried about her availability.
Future.
Yeah, for season 4 sailing yacht.
I think Kate and Hannah enter this territory too, where you do one charter season a year.
Got it.
And it's the one that's on Bravo.
Like it's old hat for her at this point,
Yeah.
It's like she knows it like the back of her hand. So
I know people have accused, Ashton did. He accused Captain Lee of only doing one charter season a year.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure was true.
Yeah.
Like he would basically say that he wasn't a real yachty. Now here's the thing: if you're a captain and I haven't driven a boat in a year, and then I have to drive a boat, I'd be a little nervous.
So I would imagine. So one of my buddies is a pilot,
Mhm.
like a recreational pilot. Like he just like flies like two-seaters, like just for fun. And he has to go get like recertified like every month, or like he has to do like a flight test. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's every month, every 2 months, whatever it is, but you just can't like not fly for like 6 months and then like jump on a plane.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably the same thing with boats. And maybe that was just because of the license he had, but yeah, I think it's not just putting in the CPE hours, so it is what it is, I guess. But Captain Glenn, he's definitely
A working
pretty much
captain.
full time, yeah. Because I mean, every time they do a Watch What Happens Live, he's on a boat with Gary. So I guess in
Yeah.
this instance, right now they're not, but
Yeah. He is Parsifal.
right.
Him and Gary just like stay on that boat year round. Yeah, I mean, but I think Daisy will continue to be on the show, but maybe not do charters year round. Like the last
Yeah.
2 times we interviewed her, she was on a boat. Or no, the first time we did.
Yeah. Last time she was in London in an apartment, looked
Yeah.
different than that one. But it was interesting at the very end when Andy's like, "Are you still a yachty?" She didn't really fully commit. So, maybe she does get to this like where she's kind of cherry picks, the Bravo season, which I'm fine with. We're all fine with.
Yeah. As long as
Also,
we get to see her on Below Deck Sailing Yacht, we're
yeah.
good.
And Sean, while we get into Daisy, hey Bravo, can you? I know you guys need to make some money, but can we like kill the minion ad when it's directly on Daisy's face when they're in the multi-screen? Like it's just a bad look. Like I'm trying to look for like Daisy's reactions to a couple things that people are saying about her, and I just get this small minion thing right on her face.
Do you think the whoever owns the company that makes Minions was like, all right, who's the most popular person on the show?
Yep, right on my face.
Let's put the ad on her,
Yeah.
so that way
Yeah.
everyone's looking at it. I've never seen one Minions thing ever.
No, I've seen like the 30-second commercials and it just looks terrible. I don't know if they speak English or just like gibberish, but I will not be going to see this. Not out of protest, just because I don't see a lot of movies, but it's just not for me.
What if that was the Minions are too woke? You're trying to cancel them? Yeah.
There's a kiss I'm not interested in. I don't know. No, I have no opinion on the Minions because I've never seen them. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we pretty much tackled. I mean, whoever we talked about, Glenn, he looks fine. He looks great. Way to wear a blazer, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Scarlett, we didn't specifically talk about her, but I don't know what else there's much to say. I mean, obviously, we know how her and Gary ended up, but that was Scarlett's choice to kind of not pursue anything there. And she just kind of reiterated that. Basically said, yeah, she had, Daisy telling her one thing, Ashley telling her pretty much the same thing from a different perspective. So she's kind of backed off. And, it was really interesting that Scarlett mentioned Ashley was elated that Scarlett had no industry experience.
Yeah.
It just gives you a little bit to say about Ashley, and just the fact that just really no one had anything good to say about her. I think
even Glenn said that's the one person he wouldn't work with again is Ashley.
Yeah, and I really do think even on a vessel this small, like where there's only 8-9 people working that we see, you really don't get to see the full scope of how that person, like everything about their work, until you kind of like watch it on TV. And that seemed to be a reoccurring theme, and everyone went from like negative or neutral on Ashley to neutral to negative or really negative. It seemed
except for Daisy did defend making her whatever lead stew is.
Well, because that wasn't about because she's not bad at her job, but
yeah, right.
It's everything else that comes with it that's just too much.
I know. Gary kept bringing up like you did to shut her up.
Yeah, it's funny.
Daisy at first is defensive, then they're like, well, why'd you wait until the end of the season to do
Yeah.
it? And Gary had a point there.